All right, folks, welcome back to Morphy's Games of Chess. We got game 67 coming up, the eighth match game between Morphy and Mongredien, held in March of 1859. All right, Morphy has the white pieces. Here we go, king pawn. Is it any surprise? All right, Mongredien, king pawn. So it's e4, e5. The knight comes out, attacking that black e pawn, and Mongredien defending with d6, the Philidor's defense. Okay, Morphy continues with the standard procedure. d4, hitting that black center right away. Okay? And after the pawn trade on d4, white takes back with the queen. Morphy like taking back with the queen, although knight takes is also playable. Okay, but let's follow the hero. Morphy likes queen takes. Now understand, you would expect black to want to play knight c6 soon, whether now or any move coming up, to hit your queen and make it move again so you lose the tempo, right? So what Morphy would do, he's done it in other games against this, is he would pin it. Better to develop a piece than lose a tempo, right? Develop a piece, put that bishop to work. He's pinning the knight. Now black would follow with bishop d7, unpinning the knight. So now the queen is threatened again. And if you move again, you lose a tempo. So you take that knight, destroy him. And now black has to, he can't just develop willy-nilly. He could do what he wants. No. He has to recapture that bishop, obviously, right, to keep the material even. So, okay, so if he tries to take with the bishop, and there you go, the white queen never had to move again and lose the tempo. So this queen sitting in the center of the board, you know, it's not getting knocked around, and it controls, as you know, the queen's a powerful piece. It's controlling many key squares in the center. All right, and it's got this semi-open file, okay? And that's usually what you see in the Philidor. Okay, Morphy's game start, a couple of games, I think we even went over one that started no different than this. Okay, but Mongredien plays a different move on move 4. He doesn't bring the knight out. He plays a6, and here we got a footnote from the old masters. They say, Mongredien had an unfortunate liking for inferior variations. So, I mean, he's not developing a piece, folks. He's moving pawns. Not really what you want to be doing. Now, the idea of this pawn is, we just looked at it. You figure, okay, let's say you bring the bishop out, right? Here comes the knight, hitting the queen. Right now, there's no pin. You see that? Now there's no pin. That's what a6 is about. Okay. So when you see your opponent play something like this, you know that knight's coming there. He doesn't want you to pin. Okay? He knows, maybe he knows the lines of the Philidor. He knows you're going to want to pin him. Most likely he does if he's playing the Philidor. Okay? A similar idea, and we've seen it in a couple of games, maybe 1, 2. The bishop comes first. Instead of stopping the pin with the pawn, controlling b5, you just play the bishop here first so that on a move, the knight comes out. Now there is no pin either, right? But at least you developed a piece. See, that's a little stronger. You're developing a piece, folks. Even though the bishop only comes to this dinky square, 1 square up, it's still a developing move. He's off the back rank. That's considered developed. All right? And so you're developing a piece a little better than developing this dinky pawn over here. All right, but anyway. All right, so we're going to, as white, Morphy, no different, sitting there, back in 1859. He's expecting knight to c6 to hit his queen. So what he wants to do, when that queen is hit, we've mentioned this before. I think I was talking about it in this bishop d7 line. Okay? That queen wants to park itself on d2. When it gets hit, it wants to pull back to d2. Now, let's just make a move. Let's say, okay, like this. The bishop comes out, right? Here comes the knight. Now, if he comes back to d2, he blocks in his queen bishop Now this guy can't get out, folks. I can't even highlight him because he can't move. The bishop, dark square bishop for white on c1. He can't move now. The queen's got to move again. And so that's another tempo, you understand? So this isn't good. So what Morphy does, notice when the knight comes here, Shredder decides to put it here so his dark square bishop can still get out. See that? Okay. But Morphy wants to put the queen on d2. That's where he wants to put it, right? So what does he do? Well, he does just like Shredder, supporting what Morphy does. Unbelievable. Once again, I mean, the hundreds of times Shredder comes up with the same move Morphy did. I mean, maybe Morphy had a time machine, or he was some technological whiz guy, and he created a computer, and he kept it in his pocket. Oh, now it likes bishop to e2. But anyway, I'm just joking around, folks. Please don't take me serious on that. Obviously, Morphy didn't have computers back then, but it's amazing to show how strong his moves were, because Shredder liked this move. All right, he likes this now, but he did like this for a while. And that's what Morphy plays. And it makes sense with what we're talking about. Once the knight, once this knight comes here, the queen's going to want to go back to d2. All right, Shredder likes that, whatever. But just to be thorough, the bishop wants to come out and get developed so that when the knight comes, the queen could come back to d2, and now the bishop's already developed on e3. You see this? It's already developed. So the queen's not blocking him in. So you're not in the way anymore. The queen would be perfectly fine there, and you get your other pieces developed. It's all about the tempos. I know it's long-winded, folks, but, we're talking chess and the subtleties, and you're picking up Paul Morphy, a master player, okay? When you're talking about masters and grandmasters, no less, you're talking about splitting hairs. You're talking about small little differences that add up in one's game, that give you the edge, okay, or keep you in the game, all right? Because this stuff is important. This tempos. This is Paul Morphy. It's his style. The whole thing's about tempos, folks. All right, here it comes. So a6. Now Morphy playing not bishop e3. He actually plays this bishop to g5. And I guess Shredder, I didn't see this. Shredder likes this. He would take. They trade queens in a fancy way. He wants to take here because the knight's threatening. If you take a pawn, then he's threatening there, a knight fork, and now you're going to lose the rook in the corner. And even if you pick up that knight, you're down the exchange, right? So, okay. So he's got to take the knight. The king has to take the bishop. Now black can't castle, right? And can you go after the f7 pawn is not defended. You could develop with tempo maybe. Attacking him, it forces this guy over here. Or he could move it maybe, I don't know. But all right, he goes there. You play f3 to take away the future of this knight. Where's he ever gonna go, right? He's protecting him now, but when that's all said and done, the knight's gonna want to move. And look at that, f3 takes away the g4 square. He can't go here. Very ugly for the knight. Okay, so that knight's trapped over there. This might be a good line. This might be a good way to play. All right, so anyway, here he comes. I don't know. He doesn't want to castle. He wants to come here. Okay. And there you go. You got a game, folks. It's basically a game at this point. It's the evaluation is practically even here. Point 17 in black's favor. I mean, he's got the bishop pair. Maybe that's the reason why they're giving him a little edge. But, it's not much. It's 0.27 now. Big deal, right? It's anybody's game at this point. All right, so bishop g5 attacking black's queen. Shredder likes the counterattack. All right. Well, that's not what Mongredien did. Here it is. Look. He blocks out the bishop with f6, folks. f6, another pawn move. Another pawn move, all right? So now, after that one, you got the bishop retreating to e3. So you see what could have happened. Let's look at the position now. It's black's turn. He could have just went here and it's black's turn, but now, the knight has a nice post here, right? Where's that bishop going? Remember that in the Philidor, he doesn't have many options. He's got to come here. He's not going to play G6 to put him on G7 because he drops the rook. Another point about the queen in the center, controlling key squares. Look at this. He'd win the rook, right? So he can't develop the bishop on G7. He's going to want to put him there, right? So obviously if he's there, the knight's going to go here, right? Only common sense. If he goes here, folks, we learned about that. You destroy the castle, the king side pawn structure would be busted. Oh, and he'd lose the rook too, right? Ridiculous. So he's not going here. The knight would have to come here. Well, look at the ideas, folks, behind these moves being made. He taunts black. He taunts Mongredion's queen. Get out of here, right? He hits him with the pawn. He goes back. It seems like a waste of time, but it's not. Now, look, folks, it's not a waste of time because it was just a pawn move that Mongredien played, F6. Yes, the bishop retreated, but look at what Morphy gains. Now the knight can't come here, folks. The bishop's got to go here, right? We talked about that. Where's the knight can't go here? Remember, come on, you got to dummy up. Even now, if he doesn't win the rook, he still busts the pawns. Ugly, right? You can't do that, folks. So what he gains is he cramps black. He starts tying black in knots. If the bishop goes here, where's the knight going to go? If the knight goes here, where's the bishop going to go? You see how he's tying them up. All right, pawn moves. All pawn moves for Mongredien at this point, okay? Now, after the bishop retreats, you figure the knight's coming to C6 to get the tempo. And even if it did, again, the dark square bishop was developed already. Queen D2, and the queen is good to go. And the bishop's out already into the battlefield. No problemo, right? So, what do we got, folks? What do we got? I'll move 6, right? Okay. We got the bishop developing. All right, not bad. I mean, I guess he feels that the white bishop may come and try to take over this diagonal next from C4, And with that pawn F6 move, the light squares, folks, are getting weak over here. See, it's like an open door to the king position if the king was to castle there. See that? All right, so he develops the bishop, right? So now you got Morphy. He develops his knight. And here we got the other bishop. I'm sorry. Now we got the other knight. The knight, not the bishop, coming to E7. And it's funny because if you look at this, again, what we talked about, the king side minor pieces don't have much future over there, right? Who's going to be on E7? All right. So what Mongredien does is he figures, and this is what you got to do. You got to think moves ahead. Where am I going to set my men up? How am I going to do it, right? How are they going to coordinate? They got to coordinate or else you get in trouble right from the get-go. The knight's going to come here. He's going to post this guy here and allow the queen knight to develop to D7 over there, right? And then his bishop can go to E7. All right, we'll see it play out. You'll see what I mean. Here comes the knight. All right, king knight to E7. Now you got Morphy developing the last of his minor pieces, right? Bishop to E2. All right, now the queen knight. Oh, no, now the king knight. My mistake. Now the king knight, like I was saying, if the queen knight comes here like Shredder wants, okay, we go back to D2 like we said, right? But now where does this guy go? I guess he could go here maybe. I don't know. But the point is, this guy's going to have to move somewhere, right? He can't go here or there. Maybe, push D5. I don't know. But he's got to get out of the way so the bishop, the dark square bishop, could get to E7. All right? Well, what Mongredien does is he plays this knight over, okay? And queen to D2, like we said, by Morphy. And now, all right, Morphy now develops the bishop to E7. Here we go. King castles, king side, king castles, king side. All right, and now you got Now you got Morphy with the queen rook backing up the queen, taking control of that semi-open D file. Right? Who knows? Maybe E5 is in the cards in the future. We're gonna push and open it up, and who knows, right? But anyway, queen to D1, queen rook to D1, and now the knight comes to D7. Okay, so he's got all his minor pieces developed, but you can see the Philidor with D6 cramps the dark square bishop, and the way Mongredian followed with F6 really entombs that piece. Not good. Plus F6 opens that A2. Okay, this diagonal here. See, look at the king, right? That's why Mongredian posted this guy here for a little defense, along the diagonal, the light square diagonal. But anyway, what do we have going on is after knight to D7, Morphy's knight doesn't leap here. He leaps to D4, and he's forking the knight, and the bishop's undefended. All right, now, the bishop, what he's threatening to do is either win the bishop or bust up the pawns on the queen side. Okay? For instance, if he moves him back, well, maybe he'd like this even better, but he can bust up the pawns on the queen side. Now, if white was castled on the queen side, that might be good for black, because then he could utilize, I'll just make a move. He could utilize this and maybe get an attack coming down the B file, the open B file, to white's king. But white's king's over on the king side, so it doesn't matter. So this would just be weakening the pawns. But he does have good. He gains control of D5 with that C pawn. So it's who knows where it would go. But the point is, he's also threatening to win the bishop. Okay, and this compels Mongredian to actually take on D4, because he can't do normal. He can maybe move the bishop here and recapture, and there's no doubling of the pawns. He can't do that, though, with the knight there. He can't go here because of the pawn on E4, so he can't really protect the knight with the light square bishop. So Mongredian feels the best choice is to take. He doesn't want the double pawns. Okay, and Morphy takes back, not with the queen, but with the bishop. All right, so he takes with the bishop. And now we got this move. We got F5. Now, funny thing is, Shredder's saying C6, and the old masters agree. It was better to keep white's knight out of B5. Okay, he should have played C6, taking away this move. Okay, but he does this. He plays this one. He feels he wants to open up the F file for his rook, I guess. Morphy's happy to take, and the bishop recaptures. But by recapturing, what does he do, folks? He leaves that door open. Look at this bishop. Bishop check. Okay, he can't go back to block because he just hangs the piece. So he can't block in any way. Look, there's nothing. You don't want to give up the exchange. He can't block along the diagonal. So he's got to move over. So now you see this bishop here. He's strong. All right, very good. So now you see Paul Morphy. Look at his pieces, folks. Got the bishop. Look at that diagonal, right? Look at this one, Eamon. Now that the king was forced to move over, look. He's in the sights of this guy, right? All right, so after that, we got the knight. Knight to D5, like they were saying. Should have played C6 earlier to keep this guy from leaping up. Now he's hitting the bishop. The bishop really has nowhere to go. I guess he can go there. I don't know. Can we play something like this and force him, and then we can take him with the knight? Yeah, see, we could take him with the knight anyway. So we get the bishop pair, all right? We get the bishop pair. And any attempt to go, here just kind of slows things down. If he goes back, we do it, right? And it turns into the same kind of thing. Knight can take. Maybe now he wouldn't even want to. He wants to take this file. Maybe that's more important at this point. But, all right, anyway, needless to say, what Mongredian does is he moves the knight. This guy's kind of, you know, he's got to get further up into the position. So he brings the knight up to get in the game, help defend the king, I guess. And look at what Morphy does. He snatches. He just snatches the bishop here. There you go. Queen's got to recapture, right? And there you go. Boom. King rook to e1. Tempo on the queen. The queen has to move. She moves to d7 out of the scope, right? Off that firing line. Down to the e file. Did I say d file? E file. Down the e file. Now look at the difference, folks, in pieces, right? The control, the development. Look at the queen, rook, the rook here on the open file. You got these bishops aiming at the enemy king, right? All right, so what do we got next? The king, the queen, black queen shelters on d7. Here we go. Queen coming up to g5, attacking the bishop. Now, funny thing, Shredder says go on in for it. Go ahead. Take that pawn. And with further evaluation with the help of the engine here, I mean, if you go like this, he pulls it back. According to Shredder, you get you double on the E file, which is good, but you don't really control it enough. Wait, mouse slip, sorry there. You get the rook coming to challenge, right? And Black's got his minor pieces backing up these rooks. So even, all right, if he wants to trade both or just one, there you go, right? And look at the evaluation. I don't know. I mean, Black's up a pawn. He's up a pawn, but White has the bishop pair and the good piece action. So those bishops are really strong. I mean, you couldn't ask for better bishops. Look at those. Aiming at that enemy king, no F pawn, right? So I guess that extra pawn of Black's pretty much looks like an equal position at this point, right? But hey, if Black could trade off maybe his light square bishop, right, for White's bishop, and you got that extra pawn in an endgame, right? You trade down. You never know, right? If the knight can trade with the light square bishop, now you got bishops of opposite color, but who knows if that's good, because Black, it looks like White has the attack, more of the initiative. Sometimes when you have bishops of opposite color, the end game is almost certainly drawn, but if the queens are still on the board, it can almost feel like the attacker has an extra piece because the other bishop can't help defend. For instance, if Black traded this knight for this guy, White would have the dark square bishop. If he attacks on the dark squares, Black's light square bishop is no help. And sometimes that could mean the difference. But I mean, I know that's a lot of philosophy there. We're giving you everything in this one, right? All right, so there's really nothing here. There was nothing wrong with Black taking that pawn. And this Shredder follows up with this move. He likes to harass the queen. The queen, I don't know. We're doing it quick, folks. We're not letting it run. All right, here you go. You go here. He pins that bishop. You know, what's really going on? It looks like an even fight at this point. I don't know. Right? There's nothing really here. It's a half a pawn advantage for Black. Again, he's got the extra pawn. White's got the bishop pair. You know what happens here with the problem is he'd love to come back here, but even then he loses to the back rank mate, right? And even if the mate wasn't there, let's see, he takes away the back rank mate. He harasses the queen. So yeah, it's a game. It's still a game. Who knows? He's pushing this guy all the way up, blocking out the black bishop. So I don't know. It's a game. You can see the evaluation. It's less than a pawn. So Black has an extra one though. Who knows where that would have gone? Point is, after queen to g5, he could have taken that pawn. Instead, okay, what does Mongolian do? Well, And that's move 19, right? So move 19, he harasses the queen. He goes after the queen, and Morphy pulls the queen to the H file over here. He wants to keep it on H4. Now, you'll see why in a second. Here, Shredder still says, grab the pawn, go for it. You know, you got it, you can do it. But what he does instead is the natural move. You challenge that open file. You don't like white controlling it, okay? Now, he's also, in a way, you're going to see what he plays. I guess Morphy saw this coming. He plays this pawn move, which I didn't understand at first, okay? C3. Now, what's funny is Mongolian plays the rook to E4, right? And he's harassing the queen. He's harassing the queen. That's what he's trying to do. Maybe now if you move your queen, I mean, the queen doesn't have little mouse up there. Sorry, folks. He's running out of breathing room. Look, right? If he moves, he's harassing him. Look at this, right? So I don't know where it goes. It looks like it's still even. But the point is, he wants to harass the queen, right? Maybe double up. Maybe he could double. Maybe Mongolian could play rook f8 to e8. Then he's doubled up and he controls the e file. But anyway, he's harassing the queen. Now, if the queen was to move, say c3 wasn't played, I don't know, just waste a move here. Just go like this, right? And he comes down, and then you move the queen. I mean, he doesn't even win a piece, but I was like trying to figure this out. So I thought this might have had something to do with it, like protecting the bishop, but it doesn't, because he's not really forking the queen and the bishop. But anyway, this move of rook to e4, right? Let me move the king back. There was c3 played by Morphy, rook to e4. It's just to harass the queen, but it doesn't work. It actually loses the game. Okay, that's Mongolian's downfall. He was in this game, folks, right here. Look at the evaluation. He was still in it. He didn't grab the, matter of fact, maybe Morphy felt, well, that bishop's aiming down on the c-pawn. That's maybe as simple as that move could be. Sometimes you overthink this stuff. I can't believe it. Maybe that's why I overthought it. I was thinking of forks. I'm always thinking tactically. And the simple, save the c-pawn because he can take it. So maybe he just moved it up. All right, and it protects the bishop. But anyway, this harassing move is where Mongolian, that's his downfall. Look at the evaluation, folks. It's even, right? 0.02. Like, big deal, right? And then all of a sudden, watch this. Rook to e4. Look at this. White's up now. Over 2 pawns. When you take your engine and you go over your game, those that play competitive chess, these are the moves you gotta analyze. When you see a jump like that, that's what this chart, if you look at the top, it has a red arrow near the pieces that went in the box above the notation. This chart here is telling you, you can just simply see with the arrow, it's pointing towards white now. There was a mistake made. See right there? Now, this right here, which piece? Who goes? Black? Look up over here, folks, to the right. See that red arrow in that chart? See, it's even. It's like in the middle. It's anyone's game. All of a sudden, he goes up here. Boom! It drops to the left. It's swinging in white's favor. All right, let's see why that's losing, right? Enough of me yapping. All right. I'm just showing you the tools. Showing you the tools. These are the moves you got to evaluate now. The losing moves in your game, okay, with the engines. But anyway, here we go. So that was move 21, right? Okay. Here we go. Rook takes rook. All right. Now, knight has to take. If he takes with the bishop, the queen can't take him. Why, folks? Because the black knight defends it. So we destroy him. Okay? When he takes back, we win this guy. Now he is undefended. Right? And there you go. You win a piece. You win a bishop. Right? All right. So he has to take with the knight. Now, the only problem with that, which you might, I don't know if you've seen this, folks. Yes, Shredder sees it. Maybe you saw it. It looks insane. But the reason why Morphy kept the queen on the H file, he wants to take the H pawn because this guy's pinned, folks. The dark square bishop for white is pinned in G7. He can't recapture queen. So he'd have to... he blocks. This actually happened. Morphy grabs the pawn with check. The bishop goes back. Only move, folks. It would be made if this bishop couldn't go back. Because the king can't move to G8 because this guy, remember that beautiful diagonal on the light squares. Okay. So the bishop goes back. Only move. Rook over to attack the knight. Attacking this knight. Okay. All right, now if he plays D5 and tries to protect the knight, it's an illusion, folks. Bishop takes, and when the queen takes back, she leaves the defense at G7, and white ends the game. Checkmate. See, so the queen can't recapture. So that's an illusion. You can't protect the knight with D5. So you play C5. And actually, just to be thorough, it's a little more complicated because, yes, Shredder finds, in between moves here. The queen backs off. You fork the king and queen. Queen backs off. And then when he takes here, you take there, right? And you're up 2 pawns. You're up 2 pawns for the piece. Okay? And, I don't know, queen back. It doesn't do anything. You're up 6 pawns to 4, right? You got 2 extra king side pawns. You can trade down, and right now you got the initiative. Even you come down threatening to take on G7, or even over here threatening to take on G7, right? He pulls that back, and he's good for now. But he's all tied up, folks. You got the initiative and you got the 2 extra pawns. Come on. That should be an easy win for white. And it's no different if he takes with the rook. You still take back. Remember, the bishop is pinned on H7. So he can't take your rook, right? And there you go, right? If he goes here, no big deal. You swap down. All right, you take the 7th rank. Look at it. Forget about it. What's he going to do? He's going to hang another pawn. This is terrible. Right? You take with check. How about that? Alright, you launch this guy down. Maybe he'll come all the way. Who knows? Right? You're making a back rank, escape square. That's what H4. And you're launching it so far up the board, maybe you're halfway, Yeah, trade him down. See? Go after the C pawn. You got the 3 pawns on the king side, right? Easy win. Easy peasy, right? So, D5 is an illusion, folks. It goes nowhere, right? So, Shredder, of course, you see this one. C5, right? You're hitting the other bishop. All right. Morphy takes. And that's what Mongolian found, too. He found C5. So, Morphy takes the knight. All right. Now, Mongolian takes the bishop. And now the queen is hanging, folks. Once this bishop on D4 is off the board, G7 isn't pinned anymore. So Morphy backs the queen to H5. Now remember, that bishop on H7 is pinned by the queen. If the queen leaves if the queen leaves the H file, he hangs the rook. The rook is under attack, but right now the bishop is pinned. So as long as he's pinned, he can't take the rook, right? Now, after 26, queen to H5. This is an interesting line right here. This is what Shredder finds. He just figures he's going to lose this D pawn, so just trade it off for now, right? Okay, best for white is to take back. And then when he hits the bishop, okay, yeah, you could go here, stay on this important diagonal. But look at this move. I think after a while it'll find this. Shredder will find bishop to D3. Look at this. You're setting up, if you haven't noticed, look, we'll just make a dinky move over here that means nothing. Rook down, okay? And you're threatening mate on h7, right? What could he do? You're attacking the queen, and his only move is to stop the mate. Queen takes the bishop, mate, right? So the only thing is now, look at this. He loses this way. Look at that, right? Back rank, mate. All right. So that's a sneaky little, it looks like an innocent move, right? But, oh, you're just backing off that pawn. Okay, fine. So now an interesting thing arises here. You got this move, right? Queen's challenging the white queen. Now I think if you trade, he goes there and you give the check, right? He can't do this, folks. I mean, forget it. Why give the rook up, right? Come on, the jokes, folks. Come on, dummy up. The bishop has to block, right? Now get this. Simplicity, folks. This is what you want. You want to simplify the game. You're up a pawn, right? All right, bishop here. You're going to see why. No matter what he does, he's in trouble because we're getting ready to play bishop to d5, right? Once the rook moves, we win the bishop, right? We win the bishop. Okay. For instance, dumb move like this, okay? There you go. Rook's got to move. He can't move here to help protect because the rook just takes, right? Dummy up. So when he moves off to save his rook, he loses the bishop, okay? And he can't do any kind of back rank, coming down here because the rook still got it covered, controlling the e-file, right? So when he goes after, whatever, you take with the bishop and you get it discovered. Look, you get a discovered check. Look at this. Pretty crazy, right? Okay, and you make an escape square, right? F2 for the king. All right, so there you go. You win a piece, right? So that's what's being threatened. No a5. So what could black do? Well, black's got to get out of this, right? Now he can't even step up to h7 because the light square bishop. All right, he goes here. He doesn't want to give the pawn away. He goes here with g5, right? He couldn't step up because the white bishop controls h7. So he's making an escape square, g7, right? But now it's too late. Now they say to move this first, but look, simplify, folks, simplify. Rook takes, forced, right? He's got to take back, and now the reason why bishop to e4, now bishop to d5, pinning the rook, which guarantees you're trading off all the material. Now white is up a pawn, okay? And it should be easy enough. Okay, here we go. Centralized king, I guess. The black king's coming to the center. All right. What can he do? He can't get to my c pawn in time, right? If he goes here, I go up. He comes down. But let's see. I could even make an h pawn before he could do anything, right? If he takes here, folks, look, if he takes here, I run in. I got 3 steps. The black king can't catch my pawn on the h-file. So he's really forced to trade. And now I'm threatening it again. After the trade, I'm threatening h5, right? If he takes here, I'm in 3 moves. No way could he catch me. Matter of fact, my king controls d4. He's got to go around that. No way. Right? So I now you would say, well, what about his? This is too slow, folks. There's no way he can make a pawn in time. Look, I get it with check, no less. So he's way behind the 8 ball there. He can't do anything. There's no way a foot race between his king and mine. He can't do anything about c3. He can't threaten me, right? He comes up like he did. He's in the center. He's got a better centralized king, but it's only a matter of time. I got 2 extra pawns on the king side. He feels he go there is best, right? He can't make a pass pawn. See, that's the whole crux of the situation, if that's the right word, right? Here we go. We could make a pass pawn. There we go. We got the H pawn, right? Now he's got to babysit that guy. While he babysits him, we gobble him up. We gobble everybody else up. right? What's he gonna do? What could he do? We eat this guy. He tries to make one over here. We got our A pawn to stop his B pawn, right? So now, no matter what he does, you know, we could just go after him, eat him up. He's going after that one. We take them. What can he do? Right? There you go. He can gobble those two up. He'll never stop the A pawn in time. Boom. There it is, right? What's he going to do? It's all over. We're in. We're in, right? There you go. Touchdown. All right. So you see, it's pretty amazing. I love these type of positions, you know. When you can force it to, when you got the winning game, you know you got the winning end game, right? Why go crazy? You simplify, folks. You simplify. He's giving you the opportunity with Queen F7. There you go, right? Boom. The only move. It's all forced. He blocks. Bishop up. He has to make an escape square for the king on G7. You take, you pin, you win, right? There you go. Winning end game, all over, right? All right, beautiful stuff. So, we go back. C5 is the move. Rook takes, pawn takes, bishop. White backs off. Schroeder says to play this, but it's still losing after what we looked at, okay? All right, so this is what it came up with. The B5, we go there, right? All right, so let's go back to the game. And after the queen backs to H5, Mongredien doesn't take on C3. He harasses the queen a little more. Okay, that move is move 26. He moves the pawn up. Well, the queen comes back to H6. Now it's attacking. Now it's threatening to take a two. Let's say you just do a dumb move over there. Threatening mate in 2. See that? Bishop supports the queen. That bishop was very strong. Key player in this game. Both bishops, actually. But okay, queen here. All right, if he goes with the queen, you can trade, right? You recapture. You're attacking the D pawn. He goes to protect, and there you go. You got 6 pawns to 4, right? And you got the better position pieces. Okay, so there you go. Look, you push this one up, so he can't harass your bishop, right? Simple stuff. All right, so you got the better pieces. He's got an isolated D pawn, isolated this one, right? He blocks this one, blocks him out. He can't even get. Look, he's trying to get him in the game. You could even trade him off, maybe. I don't know. Then you're in a rook in pawn endgame, but you are up 2 pawns. So, but if you keep the bishops on, it's probably better. All right. And it takes some technique, but you got the same theme, folks. 2 extra pawns on the king side, right? Schroeder really wants to keep the bishops on the board. Okay, here we go. Let's just see how this materializes. All right, he goes after the B pawn, rook up to protect. All right, where's the bishop gonna go? Now notice our queenside pawns are all on dark squares, so the bishop can't attack them. All right, something to notice. Let's see, wait, what did he come up with? King back. All right, controlling the 6th rank. Okay, we're going to trade him off. All right, we got a passed H pawn. Just curious on the technique here. Look at this. The king going to come up to, why do this? Let's see, what's really being threatened here? Or maybe bishop to B3? Is that what's going on? Like, let's say he goes, I don't know, let's say he goes, well, then the pawn's coming in. And he's got to keep this bishop on this diagonal, else we'll take it. We'll be bishop C2, and we'll take over that diagonal, and that pawn is walking, looks like it'll be walking in, you know? All right, so anyway, I don't know. This looks like a kamikaze pawn. All right, king up. King's coming up now. What could he do? I don't know. Pawns are on the dark squares. See if he goes. If he goes here, folks, with the king, what do you think happens? Bishop b3, you pin that rook, and you win the exchange, right? So he's running out of options. King up. This, I don't know. What's that do? Ah, he wins this one. All right, but we win this one now. Here we go. Let's see. He wants to go back. Lucky he's got that bishop on this diagonal here. All right, but you see, we got to pass D pawn. We got to pass. We got to pass F pawn, past H pawn. Come on, folks. It's only a matter of time. We're up +5. It says here. Here we go. Look at this. The bishop protects the pawn. Here it is. He's running in, folks. He's running in. Yeah, you want to grab that one? He's got to stop. He's got to be able to stop this one. Here you go. He goes with the check. King over. He comes back. Bishop's going to help it march up the board. Oh, actually, we're going to maybe take over the diagonal here. He moves this guy back. We check. He's forced. This is the only square, folks. Only square. We're going to march this one up, right? We could force a trade of rooks. Rook to C8 is coming next, maybe, right? He could do nothing. I mean, all right, rather push the pawn up. King up threatens mate, right? King here, rook coming over. Look, rook to H7 is mate, folks. So he's trying to just block. He's just buying time. All right, there you go, folks. Look, this right here is mate. Okay, bishop controls G5. Bishop controls G8. G5. What am I talking about? All right. It's been a long day. All right. This one I know isn't as long, which I'm lucky because I'm a bit tired. Today, but I'm trying to get it done, folks. Trying to get it done and bring it to you as best I can. All right, so there you go. You know, White's got the 2 extra pawns, and there's one little example of the way it could go. Right, so queen over, you know, you just trade them off. You're up, after you capture the D pawn, you're up 2 pawns, right? All right, so what does Mongredien do? Well, he decides to bring the rook over instead, because, you know, remember, again, we're threatening take, checkmate, right? Checkmate in 2. Okay, so he brings the rook over. Now, amazingly, Morphy moves the queen back, threatening a check on F6 with the queen. And you can't, you know, you can't trade because look, you got this one, folks. You get no different. This time you didn't capture the rook on F8. The rook left on its own, right? On its own choosing. He decided to capture the rook on E4, and he abandoned the black king. So you made him with the same pattern, all right? So he can't trade. He can't trade here. So what does he do? Well, and if you notice, like the queen is threatening. I mean, again, you do this, right? You take. He can't take back because the queen's threatening this check. See, the queen now can't defend, can't block on G7 like before, right? That's the whole point. She can block at this point. If she recaptures there's no way to block that check, and it's mate on the dark squares with the help of the light square bishop, this powerful piece, right, controlling G8. So, what does he do? He doesn't want the queen to give that check. He marches, doesn't play B5. I'm just showing you the threat. He marches the king up to stop this queen threat over here, right? All right. So he survives another move. But it's not long. Okay. That was move 28, right? Here we go. Rook takes rook. All right, the queen recaptures. No other choice, right? And there you go. Queen takes pawn. Now you got the 6 against 4 again. But this time it's queens and bishops. All right, and so there you go. It's a easy win for White, up 2 pawns. I mean, Shredder's best idea is to just trade them off. Trade them off right away.
I mean, let's see. He's saying go after the B pawn. Right, he goes to protect it. And look at this. This one's pinned. So you actually were attacking 2 pawns with that queen a7. Now he could come down and check, but you could block, come all the way back. And this bishop is in no position to help, you know, attack that pinned bishop on f1. He can't even take here because the queen defends, right? He could grab this one. But then what, folks? Then what happens? All right, we get to check. Maybe the queen's out of the game now. He's going to have to go to the light square. Here comes the bishop. And this might be the mating attack we need. Here we go. Queen up. The black queen's out of position now. All right, I guess we make a hole. We make a hole on G2. There we go. We control this diagonal, so he can't check us in any way. The queen covers it. He gives away a pawn, I guess, to activate his bishop, but he's just giving it away. He goes to check, trade the bishops, and now can black relentlessly check the white king? I don't think so. He's got enough pawn cover. He's got enough. Here we go. He can't take here because the queen defends on d2. There's no checks, right? Look at that, no checks. That's the thing about queen and pawn endgames. You gotta, if you have enough pawns to shelter behind, you could maybe do it. The defending side has to check, just relentlessly check. You get these perpetual checks where there's nothing white can, nothing the winning side could do. But in this case, we have enough pawns to shelter behind. And I think it's just a matter of time. I don't know. He's just making moves now that don't make sense. He's just surviving. He's playing to survive, folks. Here we go. We're tucked away. We're tucked away. Look, here you go. There you go. Get rid of him. Come on. White horse around. Look, folks. There's nothing he can do. I mean, what do you want to do? Go there? Look. Move this. Okay. I'll move that. We got 2 over here, folks. It doesn't even matter. Which way? Go this way? Well, obviously, oh no, you can't. He'll come up on G7. So we just step up. If he goes this way, we're going in, right? So he's got to go the other way to stop the pawn, right? All right. There we go. And luckily, he has one other move. This one. See that? Else it would be stalemate, folks. Gotta watch those. All right. Here you go. He takes queen, mate. Right? All right. So that's a queen and pawn endgame quickly. One way it could go. Again, not the best moves, but we're doing it quick. Give you a feel, give you an idea. All right, so, I mean, at this point, let's see, we go all the way back, right? This is the accurate move, I guess. He could come down the check. Let's see, he could come down the check. We block, right? He comes to defend b7. And again, we got this one. There you go. Look, it's like a transposed. You can't take on it here. If he takes there, that's what we looked at, right? So I guess he goes back to defend. Maybe going to check on c7. Now the queen can't come here because our queen keeps him out. Let me see this. I don't know. Pin that guy, right? He defends the queen, so it's not pinned anymore. We go after g6. He defends. thought to be 7. May seem tedious, but we're up 2 pawns, folks. Notice black's pawns are all isolated too, right? Well, he's got, I don't know, he doesn't have much to look forward to here. I'm not really sure these ideas of the moves, but notice the dark squares are weak. Let's see, okay, he's going here to trade this one off. Alright, here he goes. Now the bishop's coming into the game. Come up. Trade this one, really? Alright, trade that one. We did give it to me. Get the check in. King back. He's getting ready to come down to C2. What about stuff like this? Yeah, stop him. Let's see. Maybe he likes this. Comes down, king up, checks. This is just, he's going to work his way up to G5. Alright, if he goes here, now we're threatening mate. Right? Because, let's just say, he goes there, right? Oh. Goes there. We take the bishop with check. Alright, fine. Even if he goes there, we check. Comes up, we check, right? Goes back. Yeah, we can't get him on the. Okay, so we got to take the bishop. Either way, all right. But he knows after king h4, he knows not to check the king here. The king moving up only helps white. All right, so what does he do? This is bishop here. All right, it's just a matter of time. You gotta admit. Look, if this, what's he do? Okay, the bishop's gonna protect f7. All right. Okay. So he moves up with the king. If he tries to check, we can trade him off. Forced to trade, right? If he takes, then we just capture with this. Now we got our 3 pawns connected, right? So that would only help us. But he's not going to check. All right. Let's just march. We're going to march this F pawn down the board, right? Now he's forced to give up the bishop. There you go. Look, trade him off. Go ahead. It's fine with me. Right? Is he going for stalemate? Well, no problem. You just play the A pawn in, right? Notice with this king move, it keeps the black king from moving. He's in a net now. So the only move he has is to either take or go forward. The bishop keeps him from moving to E8. The pawn keeps him from moving to E7. The king and pawn. He's got nowhere to go. He can't move. Okay, and there you go. Queen. Maybe we even do this, folks. How about this one? Pawn up. Give me a rook. All right, there it is. Checkmate. Now, the one thing you don't want to do is take here. It would be stalemate. because the king can't move, but he's not in check, so he's safe, and it's a draw, right? So you don't want to fall into those traps. Make sure to follow through the right way. Okay, there you go. All right, so I know it's a little long, but it gives you. This one's a little short. I figured give you some closure, See how it could pan out. It's a little long. I'm sure there's better moves for both sides, right? But basically, you're up 2 pawns, right? You're up 2 pawns, 6-4, right? So now the black king can't move. If he moves here, first of all, it's a blunder because you just come right in and it's checkmate, right? It's forced once he goes to f8. But the other move, if he comes here, we can go into an endgame by forcing the tree to queen. See this? The king moves, he loses his queen, so he's forced to trade. We take back, we got an isolated e-pawn, but big deal. Alright, so we could play this out. Once again, white has the 2 extra pawns. This time it's just bishops. And remember, it's bishops on the same color bishops. It's not bishops of opposite color, which could mean a world of difference. Very drawish when the bishops control different colors, one dark and one light. In this case, they're both on the same white squares, right? All right, look at this. We block him out. King comes up. We want to get that king in the game, in the end game. The king is an attacking piece. Okay, look at him. He's coming right up. He's going after what? What's he going after? He's going to trade off this one. All right. Trade those off. Now he's got 3 against 2 on the queen side. He's got 2 against 1 on the king side. Look at this king. He's coming right after these pawns on the dark squares. Look at that stuff. Okay? What does he do? Look, if he protects this, we can just do this, right? And attack that B pawn. Would it force the trade? I don't know. He's going after our A pawn. Look at this. Okay, so we get 2 for 1, right? 2 for 1. Why not? There you go. What's he do? What can he do, right? So that wins for white. So on king to c7, I don't know. He just loses that for nothing. Alright, so here's one way to go. He's going after our pawns over there. We do have our bishop to protect g2, right? Let's trade them off. How about that? Trade them off. Notice the king, it's going to take a while. The king has to, if he trades him off, right? He's got to go around and capture him and him to let his g-pawn through. Too slow, folks. Here he comes. Look. Let's say we bring our king here. There's nothing, he can't go here. Let's say he goes after the pawns, right? Oh, look at that. We make him waste more time. I don't know. Does that waste more? I guess it does, because I don't know. Does that even waste more time? Look, let's just get it done. Oh, here we go. Takes, right? Here he comes. He's marching. Give me my queen. Here he goes, right? Pin it. Alright. What could we do? If he comes down, we check, right? Or we just take. What am I thinking? He's got to protect that pawn, right? So, look at that. Pin. And just come on in, right? Let's see. Where does he go from here? If he goes in front, that's what you want. Because then he's blocking the progress of his own pawn, and you can bring your king up. See? This is nothing going on. Here we go. We disregard that. Check. King up. And it's going to be queen to h6 mate. Look. There you go. Because even if what can he do at this point? If he moves up this way, his only move with the king, this is still mate. Because the queen takes away g5. See that? There's a pattern to remember. So it's crucial in these type of endgames when the queen first, you got to do what you can to stop the enemy pawn from moving up. So see, he moves it up, you pin it. Now, like I said there, I made a mistake. King can't. I'm thinking king down, and then you're going to push g2, but you just hang the pawn, right? So the king's got to protect it. And if he goes here, he's blocking his own pawn. Again, move the king up. See, Shredder? Move the king up because you want the king and queen to attack and mate the black king, see? All right, he goes here. All right, you check again. He goes down, you pin the pawn. So there's no progress being made. But the queen's getting into position. All right, here she comes. Now she can check. The reason to go there is so that she can check this way. See, she's here, and now she can go like this. When she was over here, she couldn't really do that. Now she's in position. If the black king goes here, well, you move the king up because he's blocking his own pawn. But now also the white queen could come up. More options. You see, attack from both sides. See, if he goes there, here she comes. See? Now he's forced to the back line. If he goes there, well, now it's going to be made. Right? What could he do? He pushes the pawn, we even take it, or we could mate him this way, and mate him that way, and two. Right? If he moves here, you made him. If he moves this, you made him this way, you see? Alright, we're just going through the patterns for the beginners. We're picking it up. We're learning these patterns. But there's an example. You see how it could go? The white king came right into the position. The king's a fighting piece in the endgame. He's an attacking piece in the endgame, alright? He pushes g5 to try to activate his bishop, I guess, but white takes control of this diagonal, attacking b7. Now he's on this, you know. Good position. He's blocking in the he's blockading the d pawn, the black d6 pawn. Here comes the king, right? I think we push this. This time he moves his king up. This is something different. Okay, he gets his king centralized. That's a little better for black with this variation. Whatever he did before was no good. So now that the king's over there, maybe we can make a passed h pawn, right? Let's see what he does. He goes after the g pawn. Look at this. I mean, obviously, if he wins that one, I win this one. Look at what happens. Now I got a passed h pawn that I'm going to launch down the board. See, I'm going to go right in. Okay, so he can't do that. He's got to protect that g pawn. So I think he's going to force a trade on the h file, right? Oh, there's a check. Okay, there's a check. See, this helps white. He takes, now I take, now I got a pawn, a passed pawn on the furthest file, you know, from the queen side. That'll kind of nail down black's king to babysit this guy. Okay, that would not be good. For instance, let's see how it would play out. Okay. Here he goes. He's going to maybe try to get it. And look, the bishop coming back to keep him from stepping up to the pawn, right? Goes after him. Look at this. We give a check. He goes. Which way does he go? He goes this way. All right. Now, one thing about this is the pawn, the h pawn, queen's on a dark square. Now that's the wrong color of our bishop. In endgames, we want the bishop to control the queen square. So if there were no more pawns except the h pawn And even if if the black bishop went in the box, even with my bishop, I can't force a win. I'll show you. I'll set it up at the end to show you that little end game. I've mentioned it before, but let's see. He's going to trade off this one. Okay, now the king's free to go to the queen side. He steps there. Here he goes. What's he going to do? He goes after mine. We're going to give him that pawn, huh? We're going to give him that pawn. Really? All right. I guess we're gonna stop these pawns from moving up. Takes him. Now we go. Okay, we take control of that diagonal. Those black pawns are frozen. So king c7 or king here wins. Right? It wins those pawns. He could do nothing. What's he gonna do? Pull it back. We take. Right? And there we go. We won the other one. And he can do nothing. There we go. I mean, do we have to finish this now, folks? Look. Let's see. Let's get the a pawn rolling in. Let's see. He already takes over the diagonal, but we block him. Look. And then we're going to play bishop c6. Right? Look. He tries to take this diagonal. Let's just do it. Look. There you go. Bishop c6 takes it over. So now the black light square bishop can't stop that pawn over there. There's nothing he can do. Look, it's going to march right in. The computer doesn't even know what to do. Look. There we go. We got our pawn. It's over, right? All right, here we go. Another example of the way it could go. So, black's really, his back's against the wall. He's down 2 pawns in an endgame. Whether it was rooks and bishops, queens and bishops, and now just bishops. He's toast. 2 extra pawns, folks. All right? And this is stemming from this move right here. You say, if the shutter likes this, if he steps here, you could force the trade. See that? You force the trade. Now on this, we look at it, right? The more accurate was to go after the pawn. But even doing this is similar, I believe. Let's see. You simplify. You're up 2 pawns. All right, move this one up, I guess. Like that. Tries to activate his bishop. Here we go. We're going to push c5. Going to make a pass pawn over there. What are we doing? We got to get our king in the game, right? There we go. We get the pass pawn. See, now we're controlling the d6 square. See that? So now the king can't come up because of our bishop and the pawn. You see that? He can't even get to this because we control these squares. So the black king is locked out. Amazing, right? Here comes the white king. Here he comes. All right, he's going to try to keep him out. Put this on a dark square so it's safe from the enemy bishop. Attack g5. All right, so now we can make a pass pawn with this, right? And then h4. How does he stop that? Let's see what happens. Where does he go? This is my idea. Oh boy, thought it was mate. All right, he takes, I take. Now my king's trapped on the H file though. This is annoying. Let's trade. We don't want to do that, right? Here we go. This bishop covers the c8 square. Okay. He's going to have to sack the bishop. Let's say if he just kept the bishop there without moving. Right? Well, if he moves his king, he lets my king out. Okay, that's the logic. See, like if he goes here, I get out. See, that's the problem. So he feels he has to move the bishop. Go there, he goes back. King up. What does he do? He goes there, bishop b7, right? Could he check me like crazy like this? I go here, what could he do now? If I go here, comes up and wins that. So it's not as good. He checks. If I go there, if he checks, here is better. Well, now, either way, now we just win. We win the bishop. It's game over now. So, can't do anything. We'll go after the A pawn. Well, thank you. We'll go over here, right? You can't get through. Alright, we're just having some fun, right? I don't know, what's he thinking? He can't stop these pawns. Well, what's he gonna do? Stop one, he can't get the other, right? Alright, there you go. You win that, right? Two ways it could go, right? Alright, so there you go, folks. I mean, I'll show you where Mongrinian made his final mistake, if you don't remember. It was going way back with this rook lift. I mean, this gave Morphy the win right here. Takes a pawn, right? Hits the block. And rook over. Gets the piece. Right? Moves the piece. He gets this back. He goes after him. He goes back after the rook. The rook goes here. He moves back over with queen to f6 threat, right? Or the rook takes rook check, and then the queen f6 mate. So he steps up, you trade, and then you gobble up another pawn. So you won a pawn there just now, and you won that h pawn, the h6 pawn. So you're up 2 pawns now. And there you go, right? Easy win. 2 pawns up. You got to give it to Morphy, right? Mongrinian knew. Augustus Mongrinian. He tried his best. It ended up Morphy won 7. Mongrinian didn't win a game, but he got a draw, so it's the best he could do, right? He knew his goose was cooked, so he resigned after queen takes pawn check. He resigned, so he knew best. And there you go, folks. Another match in the books. And we're getting there. We're getting there. Believe it or not, we only have one more match. One more official match in our book. Okay, and that's against a little highlight here. Let's see, this is against the match against Thompson. Okay, so we'll get into that. All right, it's going to be very interesting. There's a special thing about this match which we haven't seen yet. All right, so stay tuned, and I'll reveal the special match with Thompson next on Morphy's Games of Chess. All right, have a good night. We'll see you next time.